In part 2 of how to set up certification authority, we will cover how to create certificate and entity profiles which are required by CA for signing the certificates. Coming on to the first slide, which is prerequisite, our CA should be up and running and our client certificate should be already installed in the web browser. If you don't know how to do this thing, please watch part 1. So coming on to the first part, that is creating certificate profile. Please remember that all client and server certificates, they consist of different parts. They contain the public key, then they contain information about owner, and these things are defined in RFC 5280. Certificate profiles and entity profiles, they are basically used to define default values for different parameters in a certificate. For example, certificate profiles will allow us to define the key usage. What is the purpose of the public key which is available in this certificate? In case of TLS, it would be digital signature and key in cipherment. So similarly, what would be the extended key usage for this one? So in case of client certificate, it would be client authentication. In case of service certificate, it would be server authentication. Then we can define the validity of certificate. Then if we want to verify our certificates, then we can either use CRL or we can use OCSP or we can use both the methods. So after defining the profile for the certificate, next thing what we do is we define entity profiles. So it is similar to that one. The only thing is that it will be basically defining different values of the certificate. So in case of an entity, we can define, for example, subject distinguished name attributes. By default, it only consists of common name, but we can add country, state, locality, organization unit name. We can basically add the values or define the values. So anyone who will use this profile, all these values will get imported into that certificate. And we can also import the values which are defined in the certificate profile within the entity profile. I will show you how to do this thing in the demonstration. Okay. So the prerequisite is that our CA is up and running and we have already installed the client certificate. So we should be able to go to the administrative part of the CA. So under CA function, we will go to certificate profiles. By default, there are 5 profiles which are provided to us. So in order to create our own profile, the easiest way is to clone. So I want to create a client profile. So I will use end user profile. I will go for cloning. I will create Mufassir client profile. Now it has been created. So now I can edit and select the values which I want. It is an identity profile, available key algorithm. I am okay with them. ECD curves, bit length, okay. I want to change the validity value to 1 year, for example. There are different values, permissions. So I can change the key usages. I can add, remove different, depending upon what I want this certificate to do. So it is for client authentication, email protection, and it allows the subject alternate name. So depend it. If I want to use CRL for verification, I can add it or select it here. If I want to use OCSP, I can select authority information access. Similarly, what would be the CA which I want to use, and finally I will save these values. Now I have got or I have created a new Mufassir client profile which is based on end user profile. So I have defined few things over there. So the next step is to create an entity profile. So I will create Mufassir entity profile. So I have created this one. I will edit this one, and just like previous example, the main thing is I can predefine some of the values. For example, subject distinguished name is only consisting of common name, but I can add, for example, country to this thing. So I can also define the value for the country. It is, for example, New Zealand. I can also add organization to this thing, and I can add the value of organization as TikTok. So whenever someone will use this profile, so all these values will automatically get imported into the new certificate. Similarly, we can define, for example, if I want to use all the values from Mufassir client, I will select this one, type of different formats of certificate which I want to generate, PAM, JKS or P12, and finally I will save this value. And once it has been saved, now I have got a new profile has been saved.